What's up, guys? This is Vinay and welcome to Set Up to Win, where we help get your life to that next level. You've probably heard the saying, money doesn't grow on trees. This pretty much means that money isn't something that you can just easily come across. It's not like you can go up to a tree and pick money off of it like it was a piece of fruit. But what if I told you that money did grow on trees? I grew up in a rural part of the country, and many of my friends were from families who owned a good amount of land. And I had one friend whose grandfather had some extraordinary vision. Around the time my friend was born, his grandfather took some of his land and planted 12 elm trees. By the time we graduated high school, the elm trees had matured and grown to more than 50 feet tall. The grandfather cut the trees down and sold off the wood. He took the money he made from the sale and gave it to my friend as a graduation present. This money helped my friend pay for college and get a head start in life. What an incredible legacy the grandfather left his grandson. And think about the simplicity of the strategy. All that was required was to plant the trees, nurture them, and allow nature to take its course. The ongoing costs were minimal. He just needed to make sure the trees remained healthy. Otherwise, the trees took care of themselves. It reminds me of the saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So if it's so simple and you can make a good amount of money just by planting a few trees, why don't more people do it? Well, it turns out they do. If you look at some of the world's largest pension funds and educational endowments, you'll find that they have a substantial exposure to timberland. For example, Harvard University has the largest academic endowment in the world, valued at more than $40 billion. Around 10% of this endowment is invested in timberland around the globe, as they own millions of acres in places as far-reaching as Chile, Romania, and New Zealand. They are in the business of planting entire monoculture forests with high-margin crops, such as eucalyptus, allowing the forest to mature and harvesting the forest at a hefty profit. The environmental impact of such practices is a topic for a different discussion, but the bottom line is that timberland is a very profitable endeavor. On top of the great returns, there are a number of tax advantages that timber offers. In fact, the effective tax rates for timber can be even lower than municipal bonds, one of the most tax-advantaged investments in the world. It is common practice for this land to be used for hunting leases or other activities, and much of the revenue from these activities can be offset by expenses incurred by operating the lands. They also take advantage of something called a depletion allowance, which sort of works like depreciation and shelters some of the harvested timber revenue from taxes. And if you plant it outright, you can be eligible for carbon credits. Harvard and other huge institutions understand it's not what you make, it's what you keep. By making a bunch of money and sheltering it from taxes, it's pretty much a no-brainer on why these huge institutions, some of the biggest in the world, have such a large exposure to timberland. So how do you apply this to your own life? If you want to remain completely passive, you have a few options. Among them are to invest in forestry-focused index funds, which track the performance of timber companies around the world. Or you can invest into timberland real estate investment trusts, which directly own and manage timberland. Or if you're feeling a little bit more entrepreneurial, like my friend's grandfather, you can literally take matters into your own hands. Identify some land that you think might be in the path of progress. Think of land that might not be worth much today, but will probably be worth something in 15 to 20 years. If the land is already wooded, you can purchase the land and harvest the timber immediately, and then you can plant your own monoculture forest. Allow the forest to mature and harvest after 15 to 20 years. And the reason I said to look for land that is in the path of progress is because while your forest is growing, the underlying land will appreciate in value. And if you set the land up as a farm, you can avoid paying most of the property taxes, and you'll be able to write off your expenses in operating the farm. But don't be naive. You need to be aware of any zoning restrictions or things such as protected wetlands that would prevent you from engaging in this kind of business. And you want to make sure that the trees can be transported off your land in a relatively easy and inexpensive way. Many states offer free agricultural or forestry consulting services, so make sure to take advantage. They can advise you on what kinds of trees are best suited for your climate zone and how best to tend to them. And a great way of mitigating risk with this business, as is the case in pretty much any business, is to partner up with someone who has experience in this space. Please comment below with any thoughts or questions you have about money growing on trees. And if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and of course subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.